Is Megan Malick, and this is Dark Roast and Deep Conversations. Like my t-shirt, I love dark roast and deep conversations. This is the morning time, so I have my dark roast with me. This is episode 2, and we are going to be talking today and exploring what fills us or what brings us alive, what gives us energy, and what depletes us, what drains us, what makes us feel least alive. So last week we had talked about, in episode 1, we talked about coming in and down and distinguishing and differentiating our inner landscape, thoughts, our emotions, and our body sensations. And I don't know about you, but oftentimes when I slow down and I tune in, I notice my energy levels. So that's where we're going to be going today. And before we do that, we are going to practice coming in and down through a practice that I utilize myself, that I teach people, and that is self-brainspotting with a body resourcing. This is a slight adaptation for these purposes. So if you are in a safe, secure location, obviously not driving a car, not walking somewhere, you want to be in a seated place, you can join me and do this with you or come back to it. So you want to just take a moment and allow yourself to land here in this space. You notice I kind of leaned back. I think that's just my natural tendency when I'm checking in with myself. So you want to take a moment. A lot of folks like to close their eyes. You may or may not do that. Do what's right for you and your wise body. Just feel the ground or the floor beneath your feet. Whatever you're sitting on, allow your body and your brain to really sense the support that holds you, right? Gravity, it's a bottom, it's an anchor, it's there. Allow your body to really sense that it does not need to do any work to be held and rooted by gravity. And then turn your attention to your breath. You don't need to shift it or change it, just notice it. And I'm going to close my eyes because I naturally do this when I'm doing this. And as you breathe, just do an internal scan for where your body feels most rooted and grounded. Today, mine is the soles of my feet. Oh, it's good. And when I open my eyes lightly to just notice where my eye gaze is, it is down a little bit to the right. So that lets me know that's my eye gaze position, my body resource position for my feet. And we're going to just breathe together for just a few moments. You want to leave your eye position where it is and just allow whatever comes up to come up. It's much like the ocean. Emotions are like the ocean. They rise, they crest, they fall, they come in waves. Mm. Hmm. And on the next breath, you just want to come back into this space with me. I'm so glad you're here today. So, I'm going to invite you to just check inside and notice what's happening in there. Do you feel overflowing with capacity and energy today? Are you halfway? Are you drained? Where are you energetically? And I ask this question because I know for myself and those I serve and friends how easy it can be to get to the end of the day and kind of be like, whew, I have nothing. I'm empty. I've spent everything. Or I'm exhausted. I'm completely depleted. I'm drained, right? The language we use is energy language. And I don't know if that ever happens to you. Certainly, if it does or doesn't, let us know. You can do that in the comments or you can email me. That said, for the skeptics among us who may disbelieve in energy, I invite you to consider if you've ever walked into a room after maybe somebody's had some conflict or tension and you feel like the air is charged, right? That would be energy. Or you've had a wonderful phone call, Zoom call, FaceTime with somebody, and you've been kind of neutral, maybe a little down, and you hang up and you just feel like expanded and embracive. And right, that's the energy from that too, right? So there's energy in us and energy between us, and everything we do has an exchange of energy. So this is something that's been super confusing for me. And actually, I think it is for a lot of the people that I serve too. Even things that give us energy, that we love, that fill us, also take energy from us because there's this reciprocity or there's this exchange happening. And that would explain why there can be times where you are engaging in maybe work that you absolutely love or an activity that you absolutely love. And yet you feel a little spent when you're done because even though you are receiving in that, you're also spending. It's just how it works. So I'm going to tell you a little story to help clarify this further if you're confused. So if you've been following my work at all, you know that I'm a super big fan of trees and hiking, being out in nature. Well, it was about 3 years ago. Joe and I were out in California, and my cup was so overflowing. I'd gotten to present at a conference, and then we were driving up the coastal highway. We were seeing new sights and getting to try fun food, and the landscape was gorgeous. And Joe and I were having time, just the two of us, to connect, which was also awesome. And we arrived in San Luis Obispo, and there's a large uh, mountain from my perspective there that you can hike. I cannot remember the name right off the top of my head. So we could see it from where we were staying. So we filled up a good breakfast. We laced up our hiking boots. We headed there. We actually started the walk. Now, if I'm fully honest with you, I knew when I was starting and I felt pretty depleted. I was really tired. We'd been going, like I said, I presented at a conference. We've been driving up the highway. And for any of my human design people out there, I am a projector with a lot of open centers. So that means good morning, Lisa. I'm somebody that needs time to renew and replenish. So Joe and I are, maybe about a quarter of a way through this hike that is like gorgeous. It's like a lifetime dream to get to hike up this beautiful mountain in California. And I just couldn't, friends. I couldn't. My energy was just not there. So even though this was a hike that would normally totally renew and replenish me, on this day, it was going to not do that. We'd been going. So I swallowed deeply, took a deep breath, and turned to my beloved spouse. And I said, Joe, sweetie, I need to go back to the hotel. I can't do this hike today. I need a down day. And for a different time and a different conversation, navigating couple work when one of you is a generator and the other is a projector. That's not the topic for today. But this is to say the energy that I needed to do the hike, this thing that I loved, it wasn't there. So I went back to the hotel room and I watched some movies on TNT, Perfect Storm to be exact. And that was my energy for the day. I checked in, I noticed. It happened to be live time. And then I went and did what I needed to do to replenish. So that's what this week is about for you all. It's about noticing what brings you energy, what makes you alive, and what drains you. And also starting to distinguish and differentiate where even the thing that you love may not be the thing that's filling you in that moment, in that day. And that's okay too, right? It doesn't mean that that thing's bad or wrong. It's more just starting to notice. We are not machines. We are not robots. We are living human beings. We are beautiful creatures of nature, just like our beloved earth and the animals that we live with that need all different things. We do too. So the practice comes actually from St. Ignatius. This is, although it's a Catholic practice, you do not need to be Catholic to practice it. St. Ignatius calls this the Examen, and he invites at the end of every day, you sit with two questions. And the first is that you tune in and you take a deep breath. So you can do that self-spotting and you say, what was I doing today when I felt most alive? When I felt most engaged, when I felt most filled? And what was I doing today when I felt least alive, drained, empty? And you sit for 5 to 10 minutes in contemplation with those questions, and you start to notice. Some people like to just notice in their mind. Some people like to journal. Some people like to audio record themselves. There's no right way. There's your way. Your way is the right way for you. And this is the practice that I invite you to take with you this week, to simply notice, right? As you sip your dark roast and you have that deep conversation with yourself, the person that's with you all of the time that maybe, I don't know if you're like me or many people, that's easy to kind of put on the back burner. This is the practice for the week. And I do have a poem for you, just a sec. And you'll see this poem comes out of the book Cries of the Spirit and is by Naomi Replansky. Housing shortage. I tried to live small. I took a narrow bed. I held my elbows to my sides. I tried to step carefully and to think softly, to breathe shallowly. My portion of air and disturb no one. Yet see how I spread out, and I cannot help it. I take myself more and more, and I take nothing. I take nothing that I do not need, but my needs grow like weeds. All over and invading, I clutter this place with all the apparatus of living. You stumble over it daily. Then my lungs fill and they gasp for air. Excuse me for living, but since I am living, given inches, I take yards. Taking yards, dream miles. A landscape unbounded, vast and abandoned. You, too, dreaming the same. So, friends, as you go this week and you notice what gives you life and what drains you, may you take yards. May you know that you are worthy of that. May you be safe. May you be well. And may you be living in peace. I will see you next week. Blessings, peace, and namaste.